Okay, so today what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to work on thinking about how do we find domain and range of a set of ordered pairs, set of points like you see here, or from a mapping diagram, which is what this thing is called, where you got these two ovals, your x's, another oval, and your y. So the first thing we're going to look at is when you have a set of ordered pairs like this. Let's just kind of break down what this looks like quick. So we have these things on the end of here, and you got these curly brackets. These curly brackets are part of a fancy math term called set notation. So what these curly brackets are saying basically is just that these curly brackets include different sets of ordered pairs. So in this set of ordered pairs, there's this point 1, 2, the point 3, 4, and the point 5, 6. So we'll get more familiar with this as we go, but just to give you a heads up, that's kind of what this means. So the first thing when we're thinking about domain is telling us, or trying to communicate to us, what are the x values, okay? That's mainly what we're looking at. These are x values. That's a really big line. And then for the range, we're thinking about what are our y values, okay? Excuse the weird writing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, look at the set of ordered pairs, and find all of our x values. So we'll pick our color. So for this set, I'm going to have 3 x values because I have 1, 2, 3 points, and none of my x values are repeating. So my first x value here is 1 for this point. For my second point, my x value is 3. And for my third point, my x value is 5. So these are my x values. For the range, we're looking at our y's. So for this first point, my y value is 2. For my second point, my y value is 4. And for my last point, my y value is 6. So now that I've labeled all of these, what I can go through and do is write it out using these curly brackets and set notation. So for number 14, my domain, and do your best to find your curly brackets. Just draw them. Do your best to draw them. So my domain is going to be 1, 3, and 5. And when you're writing these out, do put them in order from smallest number, which in this case is 1, to my biggest number, which in this case is 5. And then my range is those y values in order, right? So I'm going to have 2, 4, and 6. So that is my domain and range for this first one. If I were to have a repeated x value or a repeated y value, so say I had 2 points where my x value was 1, I would not need to write out 1 twice. I would just need to write out 1 once. So for example, if we come look over here at this one, let's highlight our x and y values again, or if you're working on your own paper, you could like underline or circle, whatever helps you best. So for 15, if I'm looking at my x values, let's use blue again. So my first point here is 4, 3. My x value is 4. For my second point, 3, 2. My x value is 3. And for my last point, 4, 2. My x value is 4. All right, so we found our x values. Let's do the same thing and find our y values. So our first y value here is 3. Second y value for this point is 2. And my last y value here is also 2. When we write this out as our domain and our range, just be careful about how you write it. So for example, for a domain, we don't need to write 4 twice. We just need to write 3, 4. And for a range, we don't need to write 2 twice. We just need to write 2 once and then the 3.